Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and this is going to be a very, very, very important broadcast where a number of the things that I intend to go over, I can only vaguely talk about on YouTube because of the massive censorship. So I want to get right out of the way. You're probably going to want a free Rockfin account for this one because it's going to go well beyond Eric Clapton. It's going to go well beyond what we're just going to talk about with his experience that you think everybody nationally would know about, since Eric Clapton is a generationally known musician, an icon like few others. Okay? But you have to remember, he did Stand and Deliver with Van Morrison and was raked through the media. But there's so many nuances to it because even a man who realized that things were not right, that lockdowns were not the answer, that people's freedoms were being stepped all over, vocalized it, wrote music about it, put it out there, still succumb to propaganda that he now regrets thoroughly. And you're not going to hear about that anywhere else. I promise you. I promise you. And kudos to America's frontline doctors for highlighting that. They're the ones that I've seen a large report on this with. And before we get into that story and others, there's a few things that we are going to cover on the other side. You know, fun things like Christ the Redeemer lit up with, boop boop messages. You just wild times, folks. The media telling you don't worry. Everything is awesome. Awesome. It's a gravy train with biscuit wheels. We're going to be playing this video on the other side also over on Rockfin. And then big shout out to Spiro. We're also going to play his video. This is just a 2-minute video. And he sources it on the bottom from the CDC's own page. There are just so many things we can't really discuss here anymore. We just can't. It doesn't matter that if guys like Jamie Deluxe, have the FDA's page right here, and it says that behind me about the boop boop. People still believe talking points, they parrot them, and headlines like this, when there is no actual studies like those, right? And unfortunately, that's one of the aspects of this Eric Clapton story. So thumbs the video up, subscribe, share, join the Burmis Brigade. I mean, if you're not subscribed to YouTube, great, we want you. We want you to check all this stuff out. But there's literally so much that we cannot talk about on this platform anymore. We've been demonetized for well over a year. Our channel was taken down for an hour and then returned. We have one strike right now. We want to reach everyone. But we also want you to come over to uncensored platforms, okay? In that this is going to allow me to go further and show you the videos like I cannot show you here. I want to thank Odyssey for backing up my YouTube channel just in case. And I would encourage everybody to go check out all my documentary films for free in the playlist section or over at Rockfin. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, and Shade the Motion Picture. So let's get into it, okay? Now, early on in Christmas time, Stand and Deliver, okay? Eric Clapton and Van Morrison, rock icons in their own respect, for sure, put out a song that's anti-lockdown. Let me just read some of the trash from the Dallas Observer. Diamond Rodrigue, you make me sick. We should have been able to make it through the year without something like Van Morrison and Eric Clapton Stand and Deliver hitting the music circuit and repopularizing the two privileged, out-of-touch old white dudes. But here we are. The first thing they do is they make it about class as if they're more privileged than the people that are locking this guy down or this woman down. I'm not sure. I don't want to misgender you, Diamond. After all, you've already pointed out their race as if that matters with the content of their material. The 4.5-minute call and response style diatribe is not just objectively bad. First rule of writing, limit vague pronouns. Second rule, be interesting. Oh, you're so interesting that I'm well aware of you nationally, like I am Van Morrison, or even Eric Clapton, whose album, especially his Unplugged album, right? Growing up, listen, you hear the hits on the classic rock. I was a classic rock kid, but when I was, I think it was 92, I was a teenager, and his Unplugged album is, first of all, the whole Unplugged series, I'm so impressed with that. There's Stone Temple Pilots, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, even Kiss did one, whatever about Kiss. Eric Clapton's was iconic. Interesting. How about legendary, bro? Or ma'am? And maybe you're non-binary. Maybe you identify as a zebra, because that's what I'm getting from stuff like this. But it's dangerous. It's a dangerous call to action for the anti-maskers and the virus deniers of the COVID-19 pandemic. You see, again, I'm not a virus denier. I never have been. I've always looked at the actual origins of this thing. I've talked about the multiple strains. We're talking about variants now. There were multiple strains in the very beginning we knew about in March of last year. That we've talked about on this channel. I've said from the very beginning, I'll believe it's a natural virus when billionaires start dropping dead. They never did. We all know what's going on in the Faucian world of the Wuhan lab. And I've talked about even being precautious about things like that. And you want to call me an anti-masker? Well, okay. Maybe you missed my video earlier today with the Freedom Over Fear women. I would encourage you to not only watch that, but Venmo them. Freedom Over Fear. They've got stuff going on. Their stories with their children are beyond horrific, and they show that these authoritarians now have empowered their minions to be authoritarians and literally treat our children like slaves. It's a hierarchy, right? Of total madness, of total mental illness. So I'm proud to be one of the people that there was this call via this diatribe. Okay? So basically, look, Clapton is hip to the fact that things are going on outside of a virus. So you would think that he might be a little hesitant or really read up on the origins of the boop boop, realize we're talking CRISPR tech, we're talking DARPA tech, look up the numbers of everything we've put out there, perhaps treatments we're not allowed to talk about on this side of the aisle over at YouTube, but we'll talk about when we play those videos. So what did he do? He got it. And not only did he get it, he got 2, and twice he had adverse reactions, according to this post here, from the frontline doctors. Okay? Another organization that's been completely demonized. So I'm just going to read this. Obviously, you can see the headline, I should have never gone near the needle, but it is astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing. Okay? Producer Robin Minotti Grizzati today forwarded a message he received from singer Eric Clapton, in which Clapton reports adverse reactions he is suffering and submitting to the shot, regrets having undergone the procedure, and asks, where have all the rebels gone? Tell you what, it's not a rebellious or revolutionary act that you can do, to stand up to these people, to do the little things, especially if, you're in a community that is locked down. Please, people, what do we got here? People for picnics. You can just have a picnic. Peopleforpicnics.com. Do what we did. Reach out to your local community. Realize you don't have to be in fear anymore. You shouldn't have been in the fear and the lockdowns that they put you in anyway. But again, let's go back to what, Clapton has to say. Okay? I am an old timer. I have survived with great help, addiction, and alcoholism. Okay? And stand now in the greatest dilemma of my life. I have inwardly stood against our elected leaders since Brexit, intuitively doubting their integrity and character. With the arrival of C-19, I hoped that C. Hennigan, S. Gupta, and J.B. would lead the way. But when Imperial College stepped up with their jailer's key, I knew we were in deep trouble. I am a man of faith, all but abstract, and what I felt and saw unfold in March 20 began to lead me away from the government rhetoric and the devotion of the general public to the PM and his cronies. I looked for heroes in the House and found Seawalker, Desmond Swayne, and in unfortunate retirement, Lord Sumption. On YouTube, I found Hugo Talks and Talk Radio. That was all. First of all, I would say to Mr. Clapton, you are a hero to so many. You cannot look to those in government. Just like you here, even if you are not a hero to anyone else but your child. Right? But maybe you are. Maybe you're somebody who has been in the community. Maybe you're a coach. Maybe you are a teacher people look up to. You need to be a leader too. You can't look for someone else to be your hero. You're the hero. You are. I'm going to repeat it again. You are. Kimberly and Emily are. Okay? Standing up to the school board tomorrow. And in fact, it looks like there's a good chance I'm going to be going to Des Moines on Tuesday morning. You know what? Let's read this really, and this is why I'm meeting with these people. So there's a representative that hasn't put it out publicly yet, but they're going to the State House in Des Moines, and I think I'm going to be going there too. And if we do, obviously we're going to be broadcasting for there. Okay. Then I was directed to Van Morrison. That's why I found when I found my voice, and even though I was singing his words, they echoed in my heart. I recorded Stand and Deliver in 2020 and was immediately regaled, contempt, and scorn. That's right, they went after him. In February of this year, before I learned the nature of the shots, and being 76 with emphysema, I was in the avant-garde. I took the first jab of AZ and straight away had severe reactions, which lasted 10 days. I recovered eventually and was told it would be 12 weeks before the second one. Now, let me stop you here. Okay, I warned everybody. And even though they're acting like everything's a gravy train with biscuit wheels, I warned you, and it wasn't me. This is in November. A month before he put this out. Okay? They were worried people weren't even going to come in for the second one. And rightfully so. This is nuts. They knew. This whole thing of experimental, that's almost giving them a cover. You had Dr. Sandra Freihofer of the American Medical Association warning about Pfizer and Moderna. Okay? Straight up. And when I play you this video, it echoes what we said in November. But we can't play it here on YouTube. Surely it will be banned. But let's hear what happened with Mr. Clapton when he took the second shot later. Now think about this. This is a guy that knows something's wrong, that has a long reach, that still succumbs to the lies and the hate. About 6 weeks later, I was offered and took the second AZ shot, but with a little more knowledge of the dangers. Needless to say, the reactions were disastrous. They were disastrous. My hands and feet, either frozen, numb, or burning, and pretty much useless for 2 weeks. I feared I would never play again. I suffer from peripheral neuropathy and should never have gone near the needle. But the propaganda said the boop boop was safe for everyone. Then I met a member of this group who counseled me to be careful and have a look of what goes on with you guys. I felt like a veil had been lifted and that I was no longer alone, that it was okay, in fact, essential, to hold on to my intuition and follow my heart and follow your head. Okay? I guess now you know, after the fact, whether you were a follower or a leader in high school, in work, in your family, whether you had critical thinking. Maybe it's eroded. I don't know. Maybe it's just, maybe you do know, just like he did, and just the propaganda was too strong, or the will to just go through with it so you could have a job or go travel was too strong. And that's what they want. Okay? I've recorded and we'll post here a song called The Rebels. Okay? So he's got a new song called The Rebels. I'm going to be looking for that. Here's the deal, guys. When we talk about that walk in the park and some of these other stories, we're about to play this woman. We can't play it here on YouTube. So you're going to have to make the free Rockfin account. Come on over. We're definitely ending this one. Guys, the links below are there to support me. I mean, this is what you're dealing with. They're going full board. They're putting this up on the Christ the Redeemer. I mean, my goodness. This is wild. Look at this thing. I mean, wow. So make the free account over at Rockfin. Come on over. Again, I'm asking if you want to financially support somebody, at least right now, go check out Freedom Over Fear, Unmask the Children. These women are going to their school board tomorrow in Aneki, Iowa. Okay? If you want to know more, go to the Facebook page, support them. I love you guys. I do. But we all know that, YouTube banned stuff. And we're also going to play this from Spiro because it's, you know what? Maybe we'll play this from Spiro over at YouTube. We're going to play this before we go over to Rockfin. Shout out to Spiro. He does great work. And, just him finding this and putting this out there the other day is huge. And I actually downloaded this. He has it bookmarked because people will say, oh, this isn't real. Oh, it's real. Go ahead, Spiro.
Government regulators like the FDA have seen this coming, right? These potential side effects. In fact, they held a virtual conference in conjunction with the CDC and pretty much everyone else in October, complete with a slideshow presentation. And the meeting consisted of the best and the brightest from the FDA, the CDC, HHS, dozens of doctors. It was a huge conference call, right? Now, they detailed surveillance plans that they have in place to closely monitor every individual who has received the experimental COVID vaccine over the next 2 years. And this is for your safety, of course. Now, one of the slides in the presentation illustrated potential side effects from the COVID vaccine that they believe could possibly occur. Keep in mind, this slide clearly states that this is a working draft of possible vaccine injuries and is subject to change. This means that some of the possible side effects may be removed, and maybe some could be added. Other potential side effects, I know this may sound like one of those TV commercials that you hear in between news segments, but other potential side effects for the 95% effective COVID vaccine for a virus with a 99+% survival rate may include convulsions, seizures, strokes, narcolepsy, autoimmune disease, death, pregnancy and birth outcomes, Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a debilitating neurological disease that is potentially fatal. Here are some clips from this meeting.
And then this is really just a list of the safety outcomes that we're thinking about doing for our rapid cycle analyses. It's not all inclusive, and some may be Some may be excluded. We're going to prioritize the list and then make determinations about which ones to include. But this really gives you sort of a flavor for the types of adverse events we're thinking about.
This is a preliminary list of our VAERS adverse events of special interest. The ones highlighted in blue there are adverse events of special interest that we will clinically review, and we'll be analyzing those in a separate database where we're abstracting reports and accompanying medical records.
So there you go. I mean, they're all right there. Spiro did a great job just clipping out this 2 minutes. I know it's hard, especially on Twitter. And the next thing we're going to play is this. And we can't do it on YouTube. So YouTube, I love you. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share. Make the free Rockfin account. If you want to support me, you can make the premium Rockfin account. You get all my premium content plus everybody else's. And that's another great way to financially support programs that dare to talk about, I don't know, real solutions, ones that are already out there that do have, I don't know, clinical trials in Oxford, over at the Lancet, and other drugs that you can't even mention on this platform. Starts with an I, might end with a vermectin. I don't know. Make it. We'll see ya. I love you, YouTube, but arrivederci. We need to play this woman because she's talking Iowa, and you see exactly what the headline says. So let's play what